Hey there, folks. I know you've gathered random knowledge about the world since you were born, so today is your chance to shine. Take all that knowledge for a test drive and see how much you know about life's little and big things. I'm counting on you to ace this test. Let's go. Let's start easy with some basic "What am I?" questions. This is the first one. I am always in front of you, but you will never see me. What am I? A. History. B. Reflection. C. Shadow. D. Future. I know you probably thought about answering reflection, but the correct answer is D. It's the future, duh. What fruit never ever wants to be alone? A. Strawberry. B. Banana. C. Grapes. D. Pear. Easy, it's a pear. Get it? Since they want to be always in pairs. Let's move on to our next question. I am a bird, I am a fruit, and I am a person. What am I? A. Kiwi. B. Gooseberry. C. Falcon. D. Hummingbird. Did you say letter A? Then you got it right. FYI, kiwis are birds, and if you were born in New Zealand, well, you are called a kiwi. Good for you if you got this one right.
They say seeing is believing, but is it really so? Optical illusions have a mind-boggling way to trick our brains. They use a combination of colors, light, or particular patterns that can make us see things that aren't there. Today, we're taking our brains for a test drive to see how these illusions work.
If you look at this image attentively, you'll notice a moving square that appears to be changing tones. What shades do you see? A. Dark. B. Light. C. Alternating shadows. D. No changes. The correct answer is letter D.
The square doesn't change color at all. The creator of this illusion is a Japanese psychologist and artist, Akiyoshi Kitaoka. According to him, you can see your own brain changing its guess about the color of the square. Color is already an illusion created by our brains. It happens so that the color is created inside our visual systems. What our eyes perceive as blue is actually a wavelength that is reflected as that color. Neuroscientists say that about 50% of our brain is involved in the vision process. Visual signals are dispersed to more than 30 areas of our brain. Each area has a special function to process color, motion, depth, and form. All this information is combined, and voila! We can distinguish shape and color. Funnily enough, neuroscientists still don't understand the details of how all this happens, and neither do we, but we sure give it a try. Can you tell which circle in this image is the darkest one?
A. The first one. B. The one in the middle. C. The one on the right. D. They are all the same.
Uh-oh, that was totally a trick question. All the circles are exactly the same color. This is a classic example of the saturation optical illusion. It shows how our brain perceives color in a very subjective way. The lighting and background of an object influence how we see it. So when the gray circle is put against a darker background, we tend to believe it's brighter than its true color, and vice versa. This illusion is called the impossible triangle. But wait, what makes it so impossible? You only have a few seconds to figure that out. The so-called Penrose triangle is also known as the impossible triangle because it could never exist in reality. This magical triangle defies the laws of Euclidean geometry. If you follow the ball sliding on the surface of the triangle from the top point, you'll notice something strange. It looks like the left side of the triangle is extending away from the viewer, while the right side is closer to you. The Penrose triangle is the type of geometrical figure that can only exist as an optical illusion, because this is what it looks like if we dismember it. Not a triangle at all, huh? Believe it or not, this optical illusion will let you know if you should drive in the rain or not. Take a look at this image. Try to find the sequence of numbers hidden inside it. Okay, go!
What's the correct answer? A. 3,452,839. B. 3,567,890. C. 3,687,904. D. 3,457,899. Did you say letter A?
Did you say 3,452,839? If you did, then your contrast sensitivity is on point. The so-called contrast sensitivity helps you to clearly see the outline of small objects. If this feature is not well developed in your system, then you shouldn't really drive in the rain or even when it's foggy out. Okay, take a look at both images. Can you tell if the circle on the right is larger than the circle on the left?
A. Yes. B. Totally not.
Believe it or not, these two circles are actually the exact same size. This illusion is known as the Ebbinghaus illusion, and it was discovered by a German physiologist in the early 1900s. One of the possible explanations for why our brain glitches when looking at this image is due to the size of the external circles. Since the circles on the right are much bigger, they make the one from the right look smaller than the one on the left. Take a look at this image. Which line do you think continues the black one? The red line or the blue line? As much as it looks like it's the blue line, it's actually the red line. This illusion was first talked about in the 1960s, and it's called the Poggendorff illusion. This is a classic example of how our brain perceives geometric shapes and depth. According to scientists, our brain tries to perceive two-dimensional pictures with three-dimensional properties. This is why it distorts the depth between lines in this image. Pretty intense, huh? Look at this image for a moment and tell me how many bars you can count.
A. 8. B. 9. C. 10. D. 6. I know you won't believe this, but the correct answer is letter D.
This illusion has left the internet baffled. People have counted as many as 11 bars, but most count about 7 to 8 bars. According to the creator of this image, there are only 6 complete bars. Try counting from top to bottom and you'll notice that the upper bars are real. But by the time you get to the 6th bar, things start to get blurry and confusing. That's because the last 2 bars are incomplete, so when you try to count them, they appear to multiply and only leave you more confused. If you trace your pointer down the 7th and 8th bar, you'll be able to see that they are incomplete. They were only put there to confuse you. Up next, look at this black square, crisscrossed with perpendicular white lines.
What is happening here? A. The dots are blinking. B. The dots are black. C. The dots are grey. D. The dots are white. The correct answer is letter D.
If you look attentively, you'll notice that the white dots situated at the intersection of the grid shift their color from white to gray and black. When you concentrate on a particular dot, you'll see that it's white, but as soon as your attention wanders, the dot turns gray. That's the Herman grid illusion. Amazing, isn't it? Take a look at this staircase. Now let's flip the image upside down. It still looks like a staircase, but instead of going from right to left, it looks like it's going from left to right. Don't blink though. If you blink, the illusion will disappear and you will be left with the original image.
What's the main idea here? A. The stairs doesn't exist. B. 3D itself is an optical illusion. C. It shows how the human eye is flawed. D. The image is a lie. This was a tricky one. But hey, the correct one would be letter B.
This illusion is known as Schroeder staircase, and it was invented by a German scientist, Heinrich Schroeder, back in 1858. It's really simple, but it talks about the same principle we saw in the previous illusion. If we dismember the staircase, you'll notice that the image is actually flat. What our brain perceives as a three-dimensional image is just a combination of shadow and light. This means that the 3D itself is already an optical illusion. This happens because our brain captures images and tries to fit them into what it already knows. It sees a shadow in a 2D image and it understands it as depth. Basically, it creates an unreal perspective of the object in front of our eyes. In this case, we call it a three-dimensional perspective. These circles seem to be moving pretty much everywhere they're told.
Give us your best guess and tell us which direction they are moving. A. Right and left. B. Everywhere. C. Not moving. D. I give up. The correct answer is letter C.
I know it's hard to believe, but they're not moving an inch. This illusion has baffled the internet, but this is what's going on behind the scenes. There's a very, very thin inner and outer edge to these circles, and these edges are a different color than the bulk of the circle. To create the illusion, animators make these outer edges move, but since there's a variation in color, our brain interprets it as the entire circle moving. That's why even if we block the arrows, we still have the impression that the circles are moving.
Worldwide, 1-2% of people have red hair. So, letter A is the correct answer here. I bet you didn't have this info, huh? And now that we've established that, can you guess where most of these redheads are located on the globe? A. England and France. B. Ireland and Scotland. C. Italy and Spain. D. Germany and Sweden. The correct answer is letter B.
But in Ireland and Scotland, there are more of them, with about 10% in Ireland and 6% in Scotland. Red hair is also caused by a mutation. It causes decreased production of dark pigment eumelanin, so red-haired people often have pale skin. The same mutation also increases the production of pheomelanin, a pigment that makes the hair red.
If you had to guess, when would you say people with blue eyes first appeared? A. 1,000 years ago. B. 5,000 years ago. C. 10,000 years ago. D. 50,000 years ago.
There was a time when people with blue eyes didn't exist at all. Scientists believe that originally all humans had brown eyes. But then, around 10,000 years ago, people with blue eyes appeared.
Good one. And nowadays, what would you say is the percentage of the world population that has blue eyes? A. 2%. B. 8%. C. 20%. D. 80%.
Blue is the second most common eye color, with 8% of the population having blue eyes. Yet still, around 80% of humans have brown eyes. But we went from 0 blue-eyed people to having about 700 million of them.
So far, so good. Now, another random trivia. Probably only a few of you will know. What percentage of people worldwide have red hair? A. 1-2%. B. 6-10%. C. 20%. D. 50%. To finish this quiz, let's go to our last illusion. Take a look at this image. It looks like the square in the middle is breathing, right? What would best describe what you're seeing? A. The square is growing and then shrinking. B. It's rotating. C. It's changing size. D. It's really breathing. The best answer would be letter B.
What if I told you that it's just rotating, but not changing in size? This illusion is called motion binding. It happens when our brain tries to predict the movement of one of the elements in the image. Crazy stuff!